All right. Hey Todd, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Ryan?
I'm good. We are live here, and today I think you and I are going to talk a bit about a new developer event that we have at the conference. But first off, let's introduce ourselves to everyone that's watching this video. So I'll start out. My name is Ryan Boyles. I'm a digital marketer for IBM Software and our conference events. I'm also a social media strategist, and I've been a developer for most of my career, so I have a deep technical background.
All right. And I'm Todd Watson. Some of you know me from past podcasts and broadcasts for DeveloperWorks and IBM Software. I'm a longtime blogger and digital marketer with IBM, and I currently help oversee our social media efforts for IBM DeveloperWorks.
Very cool stuff. So you and we've worked together a while on various projects, and so for IBM Insight this year, I think we should start out just by providing just a very quick overview of what it is and maybe what's changed about it this year.
Yeah, so this is, I forget the number of years that this event's been going on. It started in 2006, and it was called IBM Information on Demand. We've kind of rebranded this year to really reflect the emphasis on big data, analytics, visualization, a lot of these new themes. So it's not just about the information itself, it's about what you do with the information. So I think that that name change and the event is really going to deliver on this new promise. And if you just look at the size and scope of the event, if you've been to an IOD in the past, it's a big group of folks, and it's a diverse group. I think we're probably expecting well beyond 12,000, 13,000 people this year, which would make it the largest big data conference in the world. And at the Core Insight event, we're going to have over 700 sessions across a range of streams, pun intended, and that includes business analytics, enterprise content management, and information management. For our core developer audience, I think what's of interest above and beyond at Insights, which is kind of the event within the event, at Insights we're going to have over 1,500 technical sessions, hands-on labs, developer activities across a range of topics. We're going to have topics on cloud, on mobile, on security, which we know has been big in the news in recent months, on social, on some very exciting breakthroughs and announcements around IBM's Watson technology, and much more. And as always, we're also going to have a huge expo. We're over 350 showcases with over 250 of our business partners who are a critical part of the analytics and big data ecosystem, across, and also from a range of industries. So if you haven't already, I would suggest you start planning out your schedule. Good planning can really make for it. I'm not suggesting there's not serendipity involved. We encourage that as well, but there's a lot of sessions out there that you can draw upon. And now I think what we should do is dive into the Dev at Insights event within the event to talk about what we're offering for developers.
Yes, yes. So I can vouch for when I went to IOD for the first time last year. Very big event, largest IBM conference I had been to. So I think the interesting thing here is we have this dedicated developer track this year, which is a new thing for this audience in particular, this conference. So we've decided to have this Dev at Insight event. It is an event within this broader, conference that Todd just described, that you just described, Todd. But this is the place where we want to pull together all the practitioners, all the developers, all the architects, all the the makers, the builders, where they can learn and network with each other about new platforms, about new technologies. And we're going to be showcasing new stuff of our own for developers, right? We're going to be showcasing things like the Bluemix platform as a service, offering, which has gotten a lot of buzz this year. many of
Yep.
our other conferences. It seems like every IBM conference this year, and a lot of the events that they've had for Bluemix, garages and whatnot for developers across the world. Every time they have one of these sort of events, I hear something new about it. Right? They're adding features every day, it seems like. And so at this point, you know, that is something that it's really impressive what they put together. And it gives the opportunity for developers to have access to things like Watson services, which was a recent addition. Hosting APIs, doing, attaching to what we call a web scale database, right? And the business analytics and data type of solutions that you mentioned. So there's all of that and Internet of Things, which is that's really been my wheelhouse recently. So all the conferences I've been kind of de facto blogger trying to cover that that set of technology and that trend in the marketplace. So I'm really excited to see so many developments with our technology related to Internet of Things. I think the other big thing that we could emphasize about Dev at Insight is that there will be primarily a huge, it's a focus on the how-tos, right? So you're going to get tutorials. There's going to be demos. There's going to be a playground for you to interact with the folks that are building this stuff, the folks that are responsible for it. So you're interacting with experts who are, in many ways, they're going to be peers in a way because they're a developer just like you. And you're also going to get, we have meetups, we have fireside chats, which are essentially little talks, short talks that are with what we call our luminaries. And then we have Ignite talks, which are really a fun take on a lightning talk. So if you haven't been to some Ignite event, you're going to get to experience that within our conference. I think it's expanded this year, right, Todd? I mean, from a schedule perspective, when you look at this.
I think it's in the spirit of big data, it's bigger than ever, and on
days.
that, and on that Internet of Things meme, I wanted to mention also that the hackathon, we wanted to thank a sponsor for that, Technicolor Verdata, who is helping us bring that about. And in the spirit of Internet of Things, maybe what we should do now is kind of a quadcopter. Is that how they refer to those drones?
Yeah,
right. A quadcopter overview of the schedule. To your point about being more than ever on Sunday, the 26th, we're going to have a big reception, 4:30 to 6:30 Vegas time. And Katie Lindendahl, who we've interviewed and spoken with in the past, who will be joining us as our host, we'll start to introduce some of the things that you were talking about, the labs, the demos, the Oculus Rift games, the Raspberry Pi contest, and as you mentioned, Bluemix, and those Insight talks. I think those are going to be really exciting. I mean, no pressure. You got to do 20 slides in 5 minutes, so you've got to be really terse and comprehensive at the same time. But I looking at scanning those topics, and I think I wrote some of them down: data science and global warming, exploring Watson for developers, Apache Spark meets OpenStack, what the Apple IBM relationship means for developers, using Python to Go where no SPSS has gone before. I think there's going to be a little bit of something for everybody. And don't forget, ever, the pizza and the craft beer, and we mentioned the IoT hackathon. So all of that on Sunday, and we'll also hear from IBM fellow Laura Haas on the future of data and analytics to kind of give us a strategic perspective on all of this moving forward.
Yeah, I will tell you, I'm really excited to see, when we start this reception. I mean, we're getting started on the afternoon, sort of before the conference on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's starting out with a bang here with Katie on stage. I'm sure the Ignite talks are going to be really fun. I'm managing all those speakers, so when I started to see this content roll in as the speakers are preparing their They're 5 minutes. They're 20 slides. It is really exciting. And then seeing these luminaries, I think we've got a packed agenda. So when we roll into Monday, with a full swing, if you will, we are going to start that afternoon. We need to start on developer time, of course, but we're going to have what we call build consultations, which are a way for you to essentially sit down with maybe an IBM distinguished engineer, maybe a product manager, maybe some of the architects, right, that are driving a lot of these solutions we've been talking about. They're going to sit down with you, and you can reserve time, essentially to ask anything, right? It's sort of a session for you to maybe tackle a problem you have with using a NoSQL database, NoSQL database, or if you're just getting started with Cloudant, you can talk to the people who are responsible for that. And our hope here is that you sign up for these slots, which, by the way, you can do there's an Eventbrite form that you sign up for a 30-minute slot, and hopefully it's your time, to really get started or tackle a problem with a certain technology. We're also going to be having several labs. So, our conferences have labs in general anyway, this. But we've not only physically positioned Dev at Insight beside the labs, right? So when you drop into a lab, you can come out and attend, some of our speaking sessions in the evening. But it also, ties together with the curriculum rather nicely, right? So if you're looking to learn more about Cloudant, if you're signing up for an account for the first time, you can get those labs really at your fingertips. There's going to be on Monday evening, after you have the opportunity to do labs from that afternoon, there's another set of speakers. So similar to Sunday night, but different. We're going to have more Ignite speakers. So we're roughly having a half dozen on Sunday, half dozen on Monday. But that's really meant, it's really meant to get people energized. And then we're going to be dovetailing those right into another luminary speaker, which is going to be the Cloudant CTO and co-founder, Adam Kolosky, right? So that's all exciting in its own right, but in parallel, at 7 p.m. on Monday night, we're kicking off what we call the Hack Night. So there's going to be, a hackathon that is really an interesting way for you to take some of these technologies and build something. So you're going to get hands-on as you want to be.
Yeah, and then on kicking over to Tuesday, hopefully get some sleep, and then we have some more Cloudant hands-on labs. We have the Watson hands-on labs starting at 1 o'clock Vegas time. That lasts for 3 hours. So you'll get some details on Watson's Discovery Advisory for life science, the Watson Engagement Advisor, which there's been a lot of interest in. And you'll also have the opportunity to develop your own Eclipse-based Q&A apps, and build it using Bluemix. So as you mentioned, these build consultations will continue on. We later have a DataWorks Vision and Roadmap workshop. And then finally, we talked a little bit earlier, I mentioned security is coming up over and over again. For those security-minded practitioners, we're going to have a Birds of a Feather session entitled Security Reload, Orthogonal Approaches to Crafting a Winning Strategy, and that's going to be led by one of our key security experts from the IBM X-Force security team, Chris Poland. So that's very exciting.
Yep. And I would say there's also the opportunity, right, on Wednesday to have a repeat of a couple of sessions from earlier, right? So if you missed out on the Watson Lab earlier, or if you missed out on that DataWorks Bluemix Services workshop earlier in the agenda, you're going to have the opportunity to do all of it, right? So we're going to repeat a few of those that afternoon as well. The other thing that I don't think you mentioned this, right, Todd? The Cloudant reception. This is a relatively new addition to the agenda. So even if you you thought you knew what we were going to offer. This is a cool thing that's happening Wednesday evening, kind of to cap off. It's the cherry on top at the end of Dev at Insight. The Cloudant team is hosting a very cool reception, which they're calling it, I think, Dev After Dark, which I think is going to be a neat way to sort of cap off 4 days worth of awesomeness. So make sure you go to check out all of this information. The detailed agenda is on the Insight website. We'll mention that is ibm.com/IBM Insight. You'll see very prominently the Dev At tab, which will give you a really good look at previewing everything we've mentioned. Many of these sessions are also available in your agenda builder. So you can go straight into the event app on your phone, on the web, and add these things to your agenda just like any other part of the conference. So that's a good way to plan out things. Some of these things I'll just mention again: the build consultations, the Ignite talks, the labs. Many of these things are offered with a reservation if you want with an Eventbrite page. So many of those links are also available in their respective description area on the website. So please check all of those out if you want to sign up for these things in advance.
Sign up early and often. I think they're going to be a big
so some of the things like the build consultations, there's only there's only limited availability for some of these experts, right? So you can only sign up, maybe for 2:30 on Monday. So you want to make sure that if there's a certain topic that you are there to really dive into, that you get a chance to sign up for that.
So for those people who can't be there on the ground, is there a mechanism by which they can follow the action remotely? And also we should probably mention some of the key social assets and tags so that people who want to be able to do so kind of from the comfort of their home office or their regular office can do so.
Yeah, it's good you mentioned that. So, I mean, in general, Insight is going to be offering a virtual experience, if you will, for remote viewing. So there is a new sort of digital platform for you to use called Insight Go. But in terms of Dev at Insight, really you can't replace that with virtual in a big way. So you'll get to see the keynotes and general sessions from the Insight conference on this platform. Mm-hmm. But for Dev at Insight, I think they're going to be relying on you and me, Scott. I mean, damn it. I told you, Scott.
I know who you were thinking of.
I'm thinking of Scott Lanningham, your partner in crime from all those years of podcasting.
I take no offense in being compared to Scott Lanningham.
Oh, I know. And if Scott, you're out there watching, hello.
And so what are some of the hashtags then for people who want to keep up with our social coverage?
Well, yeah. In general, IBM Insight is the big conference hashtag. We're also going to be using Dev Insight as a hashtag for the Dev at Insight event.
Okay.
And you and I know we're doing some blogging live from the ground there. So there's going to be content available for folks from the bloggers like us that are there, trying to pick out the best moments that really everyone's going to want to know about. We are going to record some of the talks, but they're not going to be live streamed for Dev at Insight. It's stuff that's going to be available at a later date.
Okay. Well, I think that is there anything that we missed?
I don't think so. I mean, that was a lot to cram in here. There is a lot, like I said, to look at on the agenda here. It is a jam-packed 4 days for developers and the technical audience to really get a chance to, talk about what they want to talk about, really. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to it. I know you're looking forward to it. So Absolutely. With that, I think we're just encouraging everyone that if you're there, you need to be in the Shorelines A on the second level, right? Because that's where it's all going down.
Yep.
So with that, let's sign off, and hopefully we'll see everyone in person starting on Sunday, October 26th.
It'll be here before we know it.
For sure. Have a good
Thanks
day,
a lot,
Todd.
Ryan. Thanks everyone out there. Look forward to seeing you in Vegas.